Ford Field feels different today. I'm going to show you exactly why the Lions defense is one smart move away from snapping back into bully mode. How the front office is weighing price versus payoff as the deadline creeps closer. And the kind of player who could change our second down math the moment he walks into Allen Park. I'll walk through where the run fits are leaking, what the coverage rules demand from our second level, how the cap and the calendar shape the options, and the one profile that checks the boxes without handcuffing April. I'm not dropping the name here. Ride with me through the tape and the timing, because the reveal matters more when you've seen the whole board. Here's the route. First, the field. What Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn are asking the linebackers to do in this 4-2-5 world. How the edges and nickels live off those reads. And why a little more closing speed would ripple from the B gap to the back end. Second, the market. The seller's list, the realities of an expiring deal, and the way conditional picks protect a contending roster. Third, the plan. Where he would line up next to Jack Campbell. How the pressure menu expands, and how you keep the identity intact while adding juice. Somewhere along that path, the name you're already guessing will feel less like a rumor and more like a fit. Let's be clear about the need. Detroit's front still wins on effort and angles. The interior gives you the muddy pockets. The edges get upfield and compress space. But in the last 3 weeks, too many backs have slipped out of arm range on second down. Too many quarterback keepers have stolen cheap yards, and too many screens have turned 5 into 11. On the chalkboard, the answers are simple. Rally faster, strike sooner, finish cleaner. On Sunday, that requires a linebacker who eats ground like it's his job, because it is. Aaron Glenn's system asks the second level to do 3 things at high speed: defeat blocks in space, trigger downhill without losing leverage, and carry hooks and seams and match principles when the slot goes vertical. If you can't reach the spot on time, the whole house shifts backward, safeties plant deeper, corners sit flatter, and the rush loses that half tick of trust that turns hits into sacks. When you can reach the spot on time, the opposite happens. The front can hunt, the back end can squeeze. And your call sheet stays aggressive on second and medium instead of playing safe on second dash and dash long dot now. The standings influence the room. This offense gives you points. The special teams give you flips. What the defense needs right now is field tilt 2 tackles for loss that create 3rd and 9 instead of 3rd and 4. One blitz that forces an early throw. One hit that tells the game who's in charge. You don't buy a whole new identity in October. You buy a finishing piece that tightens the screws you already turned all summer. That brings us to the trade desk. Every year, there's a team whose record pulls them into seller mode before the leaves finish turning. This time it's the Jets. The losses have stacked, the clock has started, and veterans on expiring deals are the first to draw calls. There's a linebacker there who plays with a throttle you feel through the screen-violent hands. Sideline range, blitz attitude, and the kind of closing speed that turns a coach's film session into a highlight reel. He's on injured reserve now, but eligible to return within weeks. Health is the hinge. If it clicks, the market heats. Hold that thought while I lay out the math. You don't throw a top 100 pick at a rental linebacker. You craft something professional, a 2026 fifth that escalates to a 4th based on snaps and team performance. Protections that keep your draft chest intact. And cap numbers that don't crowd your own free agents in March. This is why contenders win in October. They buy value, not headlines. Let's talk fit and pads. Next to Jack Campbell, the roll is clean. Campbell's length and processing stack the box. He plays through traffic and sets the front. This addition lives at will, the weak side eraser who shuts the door on cutbacks, beats the back to the edge on toss, and detonates screens before they breathe. In coverage, he matches number 2 to the flat with bad intentions, carries the seam when you spin the safety down, and takes the angle routes out of the quarterback's diet. That's how a defense gets loud again without changing who it is. Blitz menu. It opens up. You can mug both the gaps and still scrape to keep the quarterback in the pocket. You can walk him up on the edge and run simulated pressure drop a defensive end, send him through the B, and force hot throws into tight windows. He times it like a sprinter hearing the gun. And when he gets there, he arrives with finish. That matters late in games as much as early. Rotational reality matters too. Alex Anzalone's communication keeps the group stitched. Campbell's structure keeps it sturdy. Malcolm Rodriguez gives you energy and team's value. Yowan Reeves-Maben is a special teams paintbrush who fills the small holes. This move doesn't erase anybody. It compresses roles and raises standards. Day 1, he plays 20 to 25 defensive snaps, and every gotta-have-it situation that demands speed. Week 3, when the legs are under him, he lives at 40+ if the health holds. That's how you add without tearing seams. Culture is never a footnote here. Brad Holmes and Campbell have been ruthless about one thing: adding competitors who love the collision and respect the work. This linebacker's tape screams both. He plays like every snap is a contract year, because for him it is. That urgency doesn't disrupt our room. It feeds it. And if there's one place in football where a tone-setting tackler feels at home, it's on a Dan Campbell defense that measures guys by Tuesday practice as much as Sunday punch. Now the health line. He's on IR today. Eligibility to return in weeks is real. That's risk. So you structure the compensation to the risk. Snaps move the pick. Playoff wins seal it. And medicals write the last paragraph. If the green light is partial, you buy a December hammer. If it's full, you buy a November tone change. Either way, your downside is capped, and your upside is a defense that plays downhill again. The film tells the story better than any resume. He slips the climbing guard with a rip that looks like a pass rusher. He runs down outside zone from the backside like the turf is tilted. He bends around traffic without breaking stride. And when quarterbacks think they've stolen a scramble, he shows up at the sticks and erases the math they did in their head. That's the difference between punting at your 42 and punting at their dot scheme leverage is a gift to the secondary. With a Will who bursts the landmarks, the nickels can stay patient under slot fades. The corners can squeeze the sideline knowing the hook is closed, and the safeties can cap instead of firefighting. One player with true range fixes 3 problems that don't show in the box score. That's why you trade for traits, not just titles. I know the other options on the board. You could make a splash for a big-name edge and pay through the nose in picks and cash. You could poach a practice squad linebacker for depth and hope it pops. Or you could do the thing good teams do: find the exact role player who turns your calls into what they were designed to be. Detroit has built with discipline. This is how you keep that thread and still raise the ceiling dot, so here's the moment I promise. Said clean and without drumroll. The move that fits this roster, this scheme, this locker room. And this moment is Quincy Williams to the Detroit Lions on a conditional day 3 pick that respects the health, timeline, and our draft plan. That's the football decision. It's also the identity decision. Williams plays with a throttle we appreciate here, a hitter who makes the opponent feel the lines by the second drive. He gives you 10 more aggressive calls a game and the conviction to call them. He buys your rush an extra half second. Your corner's a tighter squeeze, your offense a shorter field. Most of all, he gives this defense back its habit of ending drives on its terms. Before I finish, I want the pulse of Lions Nation on record. If Quincy Williams clears to return in the next few weeks and the price sits at a conditional 5th that can rise to a 4th on snaps and wins, are you in? How would you split the linebacker snaps the first 3 games he's active? And which pressure looks would you prioritize: double a simulated off the nickel, or the boundary fire zone that gets him one-on-one with a back? Drop your plan below your snap counts, your 2 favorite second down calls, and the one metric you'll use to judge the move by Thanksgiving. I'll pin the sharpest scheme sound proposal. My read. Distilled. This is the kind of October bet contenders make speed, finish, and attitude at a cost that protects your April. If the medicals align, the Lions should move for Quincy Williams and let the defense breathe fire again. if this breakdown gave you a clean view of the board, lock in with me, subscribe to Lions News Fan Report. Hit like so more Detroit fans get analysis built on football and not noise, and turn on notifications. I'm here every week with film, cap sense, and straight talk, no panic, no fluff, just Lions football done right.